All right. Well, I got her starting here. She's going to load up any second. And yeah, we are live. We are live. Welcome back, Evil Deadly Farts. We have a special guest this evening on That Smoke Show. We are blessed to have Romulan J come and visit us. Tell us about his most recent mishaps in Argentina. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear from this guest. We've only got him for about the next 45 minutes or so, but I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to touch base with him. Him and I share a common friend that Jay and my friend just went through some interesting times to say the least, down in Argentina. But anyways, let's get into it. How you doing, Evil?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm happy to have next generation here tonight
Oh man,
to
legend on the show today.
uh,
I'm excited.
what is funny is like sometimes we talk about the old days, whatever. There was a time before where you had to read in magazine about those things, and it was one that I've read about.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, we our pleasure by all means. Thank you to my friend Justin for hooking this one up. That he's the common link that definitely made this happen. So I really appreciate it, Justin.
Right on. Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, crazy. You were telling us that you just got out of a military prison. That's insane.
Yeah, in 27 years growing, my first time ever having a brush with the law. And it happened to be in not the nicest city and not the nicest prison. So,
Well, can you give us much of a lowdown on it? So what happened? You guys were cruising along.
well, we were planning, we were leaving Buenos Aires, planning a road trip across Argentina. I was going to visit a few friends in different cities, stopping in the first city of Rosario, which is the cartel city of northern Argentina. And just where I'm registering my company because I have friends here. And we were planning a trip to go see the country and go to Chile, visit some friends there. And we pulled into the city and we hit the first big check stop because there's a big football game in town. And uh, and yeah, it happened to be the military police, and they thought we were some kind of big time rich gringos coming into town, and they pulled us in for a few days, and they made us out to be like narcos. And they took all the big
Holy
photos
cow.
against the walls. They laid out all my seed packages on the street, and they had photos and dog teams
Okay,
and
out of
forensic.
curiosity, how much seed did you have on you? Like a couple kilos, like or
Oh,
like
no, no, no. It was basically, so in order to register for the legal system here for a seed breeder, you have to have a minimum of 2 to 300 seeds of every variety. And you have to register your genetics with the government, grow out 2 to 300 of each variety, show samples, and then you're allowed to sell those seeds. You register it, pay your taxes. So that was my plan. I had about it was about 12, 11 or 12 different varieties, about 2 to 300 seeds of each,
okay.
and that I was going to do my licensing with. And also, I had a bunch of packaged seeds I was giving out to friends along the way. So they've seen that, and they've seen all the different baggies of seeds, and they laid it out like it was baggies of bricks of cocaine or something. Um, and as make an example out of us, it seemed like. So yeah, it was only a couple thousand seeds, but they seen all my. I had seed catalogs, business cards, paperwork, and this was military police. They didn't know civilian cannabis laws,
Yep.
so they were treating it like a narco. Because it's a narco city, they were treating it as like a narco event. So they hauled us in, and they broke lots of constitutional laws bringing us in, but they just didn't know any better. And I hadn't had my paperwork all in the right order because my Spanish is a little bad, so I didn't have all the paperwork signed correctly, and didn't have a proper stamp on my passport and things like that. So they locked us up. They never let us call anyone. They said they called the Canadian consulate every day. The Canadian consulate never called back. We weren't allowed a phone call, We had to, poor Justin had to, you know, go to he's a bigger guy than me and maybe a little intimidating to some of these small cops. So they watched him go to the washroom with handcuffs on and just put us through a lot of misery for a few days. But yeah, in the end, we got out because I got some good friends and they brought their lawyers and found us. And now we're just fighting the legal battle, and I'm just finishing the paperwork process now to finish my licensing because yeah, it was just strange after all these years of everything I've done in all these years, and this is how they get me. Um,
That's
so
crazy. That's crazy. That's a that's quite the brush with the law. But I'm glad you guys are out, and it seems to be fast tracking your application process. So I
yeah,
mean that does seem to be a benefit, anyways.
yeah, but
Um,
within a month or two, I should have my full cultivation import export licenses. So I can, instead of growing seeds in Canada, which costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, um, and all the restrictions and everything you got to do, now I can produce seeds here and export for
yep,
thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands. So in the long run, it's the best way to go. The cost of production here is so low. Um,
absolutely.
Going to
What's
jail
what's the
here did
hours
nothing for
of
me.
so how does the hours of daylight work there? Is it pretty much always 12-12, or is it
No, we're down in Argentina, so it's quite a bit farther south. It's not
okay,
like up in Colombia. Yeah.
okay, cool. So what does it get? What's your longest day? What's your shortest
Well,
day?
it's to compare it to something in North America, it'd be more like Northern California type of
Oh,
hours.
cool. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, right. Most of the year you can grow over the winter months, which is summer here, our summer months. Yeah, it's good to have a greenhouse and there'll be some frosty nights, but it rarely gets below zero. So
Okay, very cool.
if you have a built greenhouse, you can get through the cold months. So
Nice. Nice. That is cool. That
yeah.
is cool.
And I've been coming here now off and on for about the past 2 years, and I've seen a lot of my genetics grown here, and some of it's just amazing. Yeah, some of it's
Just
unbelievable.
just loves it. Yeah, I could see that the coastal stuff would just pretty well adapt right over, I would suspect.
Is
I
there
Yeah,
would suspect.
variety that flower quicker because of the climate there?
I yes, but I have a pretty good. I'm pretty well experienced with growing my strains in different climates. I've lived for 9 years in Spain, so it's a similar latitude, but on the northern side. I've grown in Morocco as well, and I've been hearing feedback from customers from all across the U.S. So I kind of know what to expect from these varieties already.
Yeah.
The biggest plus about my varieties down here is the mold resistance that a lot of British Columbia strains have in them. Not just my strains, but even other British Columbia breeders. With all the high humidity, we don't get the mud rot like local strains do. So that's a bit of an advantage we have.
Yeah, that's one thing that when I heard people talking about the autoflower, like, why you want an autoflower that have not been bred to be resistant in outdoor climate that it's rain a lot? Like
Yeah.
where I am in August, it's one of the two rainiest month in the summer.
Wow.
And that's when the autoflower are gonna be ready. They have to be really tough to be harvested at that time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they are harvested early September, we got drier weather normally.
If they can
So
get through that, yeah, if they can get through that couple wet weeks, like the
yep,
old time warp strain would, it could go get through a couple wet weeks in the beginning of September, and then it would really fatten up in the end of September. Um, yeah, but our Avalon strain down here is just kicking ass. Um, it's one of the strains I've seen out in the cold winter months here, where everything else doesn't do anything or it's rotting, and the Avalon is just fattening up and getting nice and purple and crystally.
It's a
Yeah,
pretty
that's
strain.
one strain I've been concentrating on a lot down here, and some of the Avalon crosses as well.
yeah, that's one thing I've seen some variety that when it get
Uh,
really bad weather at the end, that they just would need another week or something like that to mature, and they just don't like to have humidity and gray sky, so they never really get that shiny at the end. And the other variety, whatever the end weather is, it always show out the result. So, yeah, I would like to try that Avalon at one point and really bad weather, but yeah. It's one
It's
of
one of,
those things that I was a bit sad to see it off the menu for a while. I was like, oh, I
yeah, I
wanted to
had,
get it.
well, yeah, when I was in Spain, I couldn't really reproduce it, and
Hmm.
I wasn't confident in selling it. Just 1 second here. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I wasn't confident in producing it in a different climate because I that was one of the first strains I started selectively breeding outdoors, and I knew if I started breeding with it in a different climate, like when I lived in Spain, it was going to change the characteristics of the strain, and I had to select from in a similar climate. And yeah, when I moved back to Edmonton for a few years there, I was doing some breeding with it in Edmonton and with some friends in British Columbia, and we brought her back, and I am so happy with it and the hybrids that I have with it. And I brought back the old Blue Dynamite, which is the Avalon crossed with the original grapefruit, and
Nice.
it's one of my best strains right now. That yeah, I can't rave enough about it. Every customer that's tried our Blue Dynamite is just blown away by it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that old release of Blueberry that you had is kind of recognizable. You see the print of it when it's in the cross. It's amazing to see it through all those years, kids. It's really retained that same thing. I was looking the other day at old picture of it. It was you still see the same kind of shape.
Well, and a lot of the old Blueberry was way better. Even the DJ short Blueberry back in the late '90s, early 2000s was way better than it is now.
Yeah.
I think it's been inbred so much now. It's just not what it used to be.
Yeah, because I just remember the first time I ever had blueberry that I've bought to my friend. It was one of those things that really stink and you don't know where you hide it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what the
you know, it's
problem.
just like it's a really reek of blueberry. Whatever, not super. Anyway, it had that smell of that blueberry. But I was wondering why the hell it went that the smell faded. Is it because the people did not wanted to have a stinky weed? But that was tasty at least.
Uh, I think it's just because they didn't keep the mother strains and they kept breeding it from there, or maybe they farmed it out to other growers. Um, and yeah, so yeah, it's not
Yeah,
my
right.
strain. So
Your Avalon times space. I'm just on your site there. I'll throw it up here. I'll throw it up on the screen. But that's an interesting looking strain there. I can't help but notice that there's almost no hairs on that. There's almost no pistils on it. It's really, it
Oh,
looks
the
almost
plump
like,
big calyx. Yeah, yeah, I love
yeah,
that shape.
it looks like the almost like the Mac or whatever. You like there's like look there's like one or two hairs on that bud, but it's absolutely beautiful. Like absolutely beautiful.
yeah, it's one of those strains that lime green, deep lime green with no hairs, and it's actually from the space is from a LP out in I believe it's Lillooet, Whistler area. Back
That must not produce much seed. It must be hard as hell to pollinate.
Actually not really. That picture isn't
Really?
actually it's not the best representative of that
Oh,
hybrid.
okay.
I could have got better pictures, but that's just it's so crystally, it's so resinous. And lime green. I like that old lime green. You used to see that a lot more in the mid late '90s. The lime green bud with almost no hairs, and I always loved it.
I always loved it. I always felt that that lime green stuff was the stuff that got you the highest.
Kind of like
Like
the
that's
shishkaberry, like the shishkaberry
yeah,
was like back in the late '90s.
absolutely.
Yeah, I find it funny because what we had over here that M39 was pre-orange and wasn't better. Well, the bud were kind of bluish and the hair orange and super dense, and people like for them was it's dense bud, so it's good shit. Like no,
Yeah,
it doesn't smell anything and it doesn't taste that much. And when I'm smoking two joints, I cannot get higher with the second one.
but it was great. It was great for the dealers and the smugglers because it didn't smell, and it was nice and hard, easy to trim.
Yeah,
Is
you
when
just you
it's
throw it in
still
your back pocket and you're good.
is it still a popular strain there in Quebec?
Well, I've seen hybrid of it still being sold here. I don't really know if there's a legal producer that have it, but I had stuff that was looking a bit like that, so I would not be surprised that some have it. But I've seen it yesterday in an Ontario store, so it's still there, dude.
Uh,
I'm just laughing my ass because I was like, it should be cheaper, guys. It should be cheaper. Like, I don't care that it's still there, but make it cheaper because it doesn't worth it.
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No. Well, like you say, it's good for the producer because you were able to get the really easy to produce. But I've heard of the pink kush is the same kind of thing. You give it to the hand of anyone, and you can get a decent produce from it that look alike. But it's not the M39, at least it's not supposed to be in the good stuff. It's easy to do, yeah, okay, but now you can grade on something else.
Yeah, there was
So how
there
did
was quite a few of those strains that the boys and used to sell in large. They grew it because it didn't smell good, and you can grow it in a commercial location, and because obviously we had to hide it back then, and we didn't have carbon filter. There's all ozone generators trying to hide the smell back in the '90s, and yeah, people weren't going for
those were
this.
so bad for us? Those
Oh,
are
dude.
so bad for
I
us.
wonder how many of us are suffering because of those
I
things.
never had those on
From
generator. I was trying all the other tricks and they've never worked.
Oh, the best thing was to get a place in the country and move out of the city. And I grew up in the country in a rural Manitoba farm. So when I moved out to Vancouver and British Columbia and got into the weed biz, I grew in the city here and there, but I wanted to get out to the country where I had some space and could grow the stinky stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, I remember just the chemo. It was one of those things that was still here in early 2000, and not a lot of people wanted to grow it. First for the smell, but
Yeah.
second, it wasn't something that you can push records yield with it. But still, it's still okay. It made me really laugh when I've seen the LA Confidential. It's the same kind of yield you got from it. If you got the tricks, it go okay, but you won't get any big yield with it. It's just a problem.
Now I played with the chemo strain back when I began, and I just dropped it in the end. It just wasn't worth it. I just didn't want to put my name behind it, and it just didn't look good, didn't smell good. I
It's
didn't
not
really
as
like it.
frosty, right? Yeah,
On,
No,
on
not at
the
all.
on the other hand, Romulan gave you your name. You want to tell us about
exactly.
that?
Well, I've been doing that right from the very beginning when because I was the partner with Federation Seeds. We started Federation, and I only stuck around with Mike with Federation for about a year and a half, and I went and started my own thing with Next Generation, and yeah, with the Romulan, because believe the Romulan's been around since the early mid '80s from Joe. I still talk to Joe once in a while, Romulan Joe, and it just was so stinky, just amazing stink. Uh, yeah, it's not one of those strains you have to hot jar it, but double bag it and put it in a jar and people still smell it. And I use it for a lot of my hybrids. I have my pure Romulan line right now. It's not from the original mom, unfortunately, because I've moved around quite a bit, and I don't think there's an original one around. But I've got as close as I can to the original, but with a bit more yield than I used to have back in the day.
Nice.
And the Romulan line, I was always more a lot of the smells and the high was more dominant when I used my males, and then I crossed with that, and whatever I crossed that Romulan male with, it would follow the growth structure of the female I crossed it with on all the F1 hybrids, so I could get a lot of production. So a lot of my Romulan hybrids that I have increased the production a lot.
Nice.
But it kept a lot of the potency and the smell of the Romulan. So people ask me why I have all these Romulan crosses. And I'm like, well, grow a few and you'll
Yeah,
find out
you
why.
figured it pretty quick.
Yeah,
I
you
Yeah.
get
I've
the
had so
taste.
many guys show up at my house with just bragging about their bag of Romulan, and it's always been fire every time. So
Cool,
It's
cool.
been
Yeah.
a couple decades I've not tried that, so you made me want some right now.
You know who showed some amazing looking Romulan on their Instagram was Infamous Gardens. He showed some amazing Romulan. He's you pro I think you guys know each other.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Um
Yeah, I'm not much
I
of an
think
Instagram guy.
I'm pretty sure you do. But
It's a pretty small world.
you probably
Yeah.
know him by his you probably know him by his real name though.
Okay.
But he had some amazing looking Romulan on his thing the other day. I stopped, looked back, and I couldn't believe it was Romulan. So
Sweet,
that's amazing that it's a yeah.
Yeah,
sweet.
it's
Yeah,
one of those things when you smoke a joint with someone that is not used to that. It's like taking two puffs and I need a break between. Wow, it really tastes. It smash in your face. Also,
sweet.
I had one of my buddies the first time he ordered some for me. He was like, "Dude, I'm not sure I like it." I'm like, "Why?" It tastes really strong, dude.
I was kind of hoping Potent would show up by now because Potent his the first time he ever got a picture published was with your Island Sweet Skunk.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, that's
Yeah, yeah,
baseball bat stuff.
yeah
Yeah,
the one of the other co-hosts on this show when he his first high time post was your seeds.
sweet. Right on.
Yeah, pretty cool, pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I haven't been in high times for quite a while now. I think they got bought out by another corporation or whatever. But I was good friends with Danny Danko and Nico and Matt Stang and those guys, some of the original
Nice.
guys from back then. And when Jorge Cervantes, I still chat with Jorge quite a bit. And
Your garden was, I believe, featured on one of his grow videos one time, wasn't it?
about half of the first grow video that about half of those gardens were mine. I had
Yeah,
many gardens back in those days. Um, so yeah,
that's
me
awesome.
and Jorge go way back, way back. And it's a
That's
small world.
choice.
Once you've been around the industry for a while, everybody kind of knows everybody, and you know who's doing what. And yeah, Jorge's a really good guy.
Small world.
Yeah, it's a small world that we both know Justin and
Well, that yeah. And the way I know him is a weird way. It's not the not yeah. But yeah, he's a great fella. Anyways, I really enjoyed working with him. We had a lot of fun working together.
cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, like I was saying, he's tempted to come down here now and work
But
with
he
me.
was saying that. He was saying that. He was saying he was thinking about it now. I was just like, I can't believe that. That's crazy after the ordeal he's been through.
Yeah. But if I can get my licenses all in order here, right now, actually tomorrow, I'm going to look at a farm to go put our license on. It's a couple hectares, uh,
Nice.
and yeah, I need to get now. I was been kind of dragging my feet. I've been living here 8 months, and I've been having offers from different companies here that want to license me, but they kind of want to take over my industry and have the rights to selling my stock. And I've gone this long being independent.
Yeah.
I'd rather take it slowly and do things like that. So the fact that now that I have to move things along quicker because of my legal issues. So, but yeah, so now I'm getting I got a good kick in the ass here to get my paperwork done. So yeah, we'll see how it goes and play it by ear. But
Is there a scale of licensing over there? Is it like you can get 1,000 plant or a square footage or?
yeah, well, the square footage doesn't matter. If you have once you have a seed breeding and license, you can grow as many plants as you want in any method you want. When you're growing for a club that wants, where if you want to sell marijuana to a club to patients, you're limited at 1,300 plants. Uh, but if you reach your limit, you just open another club, and then you have that limit again. So it's very flexible and very easy compared to Canada. So with the life, there's three different classes of license. And there's the personal license where you're allowed to grow your 9 plants and have as many plants as you want in veg, but 9 plants in flower, and that's just the personal grower. So that's pretty flexible. And then there's the what they call a non-governmental organization or a club owner, where you can grow for club members up to 1,300 plants and sell to the club members. But you can't make a profit, but you can pay your growers very well. Um, so that's how that works. And the classification that I'm looking for is the to produce and distribute and export import seeds. Um,
Nice.
because I'm in the seed business, but yeah, but I want to pass my clones along to these other clubs that sell to the public. So, but it's so easy to compared to Canada. This is so easy. So, so I'm not planning on moving back anytime soon.
Right on. Right on. Welcome, Potent. How's it going?
How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We're having a good interview with Jay here. Yeah. So, I guess one question we always love to ask breeders, and you've been doing it a while, is what do you look for in a male? What's what I think we're all fairly versed at selecting the females. Uh,
It's part of the thing with selecting a male for me is to have experience with that same line of females and to see the result. Because back in the day, my first few years of growing, the first decade or so, you'd because it was out back then, it wasn't feminized seeds, it was just regular seed breeding. And so I would select a few males, and every once in a while, you selected the wrong male, and you would see from the offspring, like, oh, I made a mistake here. And then you have to go back to the previous generation. Those are on the inbred lines. And you got to know the structure of the plant and how and what to look for, but depending on different strains. I would look for different things in my Romulan than I would with my grapefruit line. And so it was a lot of it's just trial and error and learning from mistakes you made in the past. And sometimes you lose a season and have to go back. Um, and the more experience you have, the less that happens. But a lot of the you can tell a lot of the potency from the male from the people don't think they smell, but if you smell the stalks and just recognize the structure from the previous generations, you know what you're looking for from the structure of the plants and what which direction it's going.
Would you say sometimes they look a bit like the female that you've liked from it?
Yes, yes, you do look for similar traits,
Okay.
usually in structure of the female and smell, and then just trial and error. And often I'd keep several males and do small little crosses just to test it, and then so you know which angle, which way you're going to go with it. So, and that's the kind of thing that takes years and years of knowing your varieties. And the people can come into the business and make seeds in a few years, but they can go off into the direction of screwing up their genetic line if they don't know what they're doing. Um, but I've been working with the Romulan and the grapefruit for, like I say, 27, 28 years. It's pretty predictable for me. Um, and most, 90% of the time, my predictions are right. So,
yep. Nice.
So which one you would like to grow, let's say from seeds, crop outdoor, just from seeds without rugging out male or whatever, you just want to rely on that strain from seeds outdoor?
right now, the one that's blowing me away is my blue dynamite. My blue
Blue
dynamite
dynamite.
is just it's purple, big. It's picture perfect. One of those picture perfect buds, with a very very fruity, like a cotton candy fruitiness to it. That's easy to grow. It's about 7.5, 8 weeker, and chunky. It looks beautiful in a bag, and it's one of those strains. Like when I breed my strains, everybody now in Canada, they're all looking for those THC numbers. And for me, being old school, for me, flavor is number one. It has to have the terpene levels. Like my grapefruit diesel is the same way. I select for flavor because I'm a smoker. I smoke all day, and I want to taste that flavor down to the roach. And there's so many strains nowadays. You like that first puff, and you don't taste it for the rest of the joint. Yeah, it might get you stoned and cross-eyed, and but my grapefruit diesel, like I say, is high. My highest terpene levels, like close to 5% of terpenes, and you taste it down to the roach. But the THC levels are only 18 or 19, and it would never make it through the regulatory process in Canada because they would see the numbers on the tests and the customers wouldn't buy it, so they won't grow it, even though it's one of my most favorite strains. So that's why one reason I don't like the Canadian market as well. Well,
Yeah,
a lot of it's customers who don't have the
THC
education.
numbers are junk.
Yeah,
It's
THC
but you
numbers are
can enter
junk.
it in Quebec because it's top 30% in Quebec. So you go, the fair that you go at 30%. There's nothing 30%. So when you buy ash, it's the same percentage of THC than the flower it's coming from, which is the weirdest things I've ever seen. I wasn't aware that you can do that with the same variety and still have hash with that low of THC. I've never seen that kind of thing. It was really new. Anyway, it was
uh,
really surprised of it.
it's probably half of that's bullshit. Uh,
Feeling
that's my feeling. I don't know.
like why you make ash with it if it's the same straight? It's like I do that did moonshine, but I've put back 90% of water in it.
Yeah, you pour water back in. Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So which one are you loving the most for extraction? I think it's one of the thing people are on now.
Well, one of the extraction strains is actually quite new to me. I have I've been working with a Colombian Red for years and some of my sativas, and I have a really good Colombian Red crossed with the Truffles. I know Truffles isn't a strain that's not mine, but by Truffles Colombian Red strain, it dumps hash and it just melts in your hand, the hash. If you're making bubble hash or even just dry sieve hash, you can put the crystals in your hand and you can almost watch them melt. So that's one of my favorite ones right now. If I'm going to recommend a dry sieve or any type of hash production, would be my red truffles. So and down here in South America, outdoors, my Latin sativa is obviously a really good one. It's also a Colombian red crossed with my Oaxacan Mexican, and they're turning into massive, like 4 or 5 meter trees. So,
Can they grow it in a tent?
well, if you flower it when it's a seedling,
Okay, at 12 you can still manage it on
oh
the.
yeah. No, it's the Latina sativa is probably about a 12-week sativa. So yeah, you get it a few inches above the soil, the first few sets of leaves, and flip it, and you're still going to do great. So
What
That's
is your
really
love
something
latitude
it
love
would
there?
be eager.
What is your latitude there?
pretty similar to Northern California,
Okay.
but in the southern hemisphere, and warmer weather than Northern California. We don't get as nasty of winters, but it rarely reaches 0 degrees. So yeah, in a pretty ideal climate here, other than the high humidity.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of the insect issues you deal with down there on the outdoor?
Well, the insect that's been a learning curve for me, because one farm I've been working with, we have the same old spider mites and white flies and thrips, and the spider mites down here aren't as powerful as ours in the northern hemisphere. They're easier to kill. They just haven't built up a or insecticide resistance as they have in the north. But we have leaf cutter ants. If you're growing outdoors, I've seen whole entire plants being stripped overnight, like big plants, just completely stripped of all their leaves. So that's something to get used of. And they have insects down here that I've never even heard of. But they're if you keep an eye on them, it's not too hard to maintain. I'm used to dealing with adversity, so
It's funny. So you have the bugs to do the defoliation for you. So it's kind of you got free labor.
well, they don't take all the parts that I want.
Right, yeah, you have to train them.
You have to train them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the thing I was wondering too. What kind of a worker is are they really skilled in horticulture over there? I mean, there must be a
They
lot
are.
of traditional farmer.
Yeah, well, actually, a few of the guys that I have working with me right now, they're from a an old school farming community. They grow have vegetable shops in their village, and they grow all the veggies for the shop. And very skilled workers, like very good soil. Um, yeah, and the labor costs here are so low. Like with our dollar, it's maybe about $20 an hour or $20 a day, and that's a decent wage for these people. $20 a day, so you get pretty highly skilled workers. $20 a day. Yeah, electricity costs are about 20% of what they are in Canada. So just the cost of production is just so low. Um, yeah, that's what I like about it here. It's one of the things I like about it.
Yeah, you can start an industry with, yeah, it's way better. And once you're gonna get the export license, there's a lot of country now that just want to get those genetic in a hurry, and yeah, they need a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people other companies here from Spain trying to come here, and Humboldt Seeds from the U.S. is here. Um, but yeah, I'm just trying to do my own thing. I don't want to get taken over by some other country, even if I'm starting at it slower. Um, and so I want to be in control of my own genetics and my own future. So going at it a bit slower.
So there've been the feminized, the autoflower, and now the triplet, the whatever, and the ornamental were those also. Where you think you're gonna jump in the next wagon?
Well, obviously, I do my genetic selecting with regular seeds, and that's where I do my normal breeding. But the market, most of the market is feminized and autoflower seeds, and that's what the people want. So that's mostly what I sell. And you got to produce what the people want, or you just don't get anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, the
So
European are really strong into that because they can grow it everywhere and not to
yeah,
worry about.
and the autoflowers are idiot proofs for people in the city,
Yeah.
people who don't know how to grow, and where there's a lot of light pollution. You got to have the autoflower seeds, and that's like everywhere in Spain in the villages I lived in. Everybody had a few plants on their balcony, and autoflowers were just easy. And your neighbor's lights didn't bother anything. So that's where 80% of the Spanish market was autoflowers. North America was still mostly feminized. All the old timers would still buy their regulars, but there's very few old timers looking for regulars. And it's usually people wanting to knock off your genetics who buy the regulars.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's one of the thing I've heard of some breeder. They were like, I don't want to release that thing in regular anymore. I was
yeah,
just, well, that was a thing you can rely on, that you can plant your own seeds. Okay, well.
and that's a greenhouse went that way, and all the big companies went that way. So, and I still sell some regular seeds, but not too much of my pure varieties. And but you know what, back in the day, breeders used to get upset that when somebody would knock off your strains. And nowadays, I just take it as a compliment. It means you have good genetics. If people are copying your genetics, it's a compliment. It's not I'm not losing any sleep over it anymore.
The only
So
thing I would say to a guy that would do that is,
give me credit.
could you give me a pack? I would like to try it. Okay,
Yes.
and if I don't think it worth to hold that name, just change the name and still sell it. I don't care, but it doesn't. It's not the best representation of that. I'll tell you
Yeah,
my
or
honest,
I don't mind. I don't mind if
no,
somebody crosses one of my strains. But give me credit
Yeah,
when you're writing the
yeah,
description and say, "Oh, this is dynamite that I got off from
exactly.
generation, and I crossed it with my favorite local clone, and I got this kick ass." Like, just give me credit, and you know what? Everybody's work is built on somebody else's work that came before them. Um,
Exactly. Nobody is
if
born with seeds in their hand.
Yeah, I wasn't born with seeds that I created. It was all came from somebody else, and
Yeah, the best one are those that you can share with your buddies.
yeah, and I don't take it personally anymore. You know, it's just yeah, it's become a marketing game for a lot of companies. So that's why I wish people, when they bought their seeds, they if you go to an original breeder, that's the best way to get it, not just a
Yeah.
reseller. Um, so yeah,
Uh,
but everybody these days, like 90% of the Spanish companies, they're just resellers, uh, and hopefully the customers in North America are starting to figure that out. But in North America now, there's so much stuff going on there that I think they've kind of forgotten about the Spanish and Dutch stuff even.
yeah, I don't heard really often of the new the Spanish strain.
No, they don't. No, they don't create their own. They do copies. So yeah,
So I was wondering, I went through your Instagram post and there was the testing room of autoflower. There was some that was obviously looking way more tropical. Was it like one of those grapefruit A's, or I don't remember
yeah, the
exactly?
grapefruit haze, and I have a few other hazes that was in my testing room. Um, yeah, it
Yeah, my
was.
eyes have recognized them. I was like, oh, I know those. But what kind of height and yield you get from those? Because they must be a bit taller when they pre-flower.
From which ones?
With the more A's autoflower that you got.
Yeah, some of those went
Hazy
as long
Daisy
as about
Auto.
the hose hazy days. Yeah, some of those went as long as about 110, 120 days, and they yielded big, very big. But a lot of people don't want to go that long with an autoflower, and I understand it. And I never recommend people grow their autoflowers indoors. Indoors is not made for autoflower. Um, it should be your first of all, the quality is slightly lower uh, than the normal varieties, and you have to spend a lot more on your electricity costs. So why would you have 18 to 20 hours or more growing an autoflower when you could do 12 and 12, and you're saving with the high cost of electricity in North America? It is pointless to ever grow an autoflower indoors. I did it I breed indoors my autoflower because I want to keep all the other pollen out and not have any accidental cross hybridization and have control. But that's the only reason I grew autoflowers indoors is for doing the breeding and a few selections. And I grow a lot out, pollinize my favorites, and then test those after that. But I just like to produce all my seeds indoors and never outdoors, just so there's no accidental cross pollination.
Funny, I was doing my math on the autoflower things, and I was like, okay, I've got that on that. How many are time? Like and I was, wait a minute, I can just throw my Bubba Kush seeds from 1212 and get the same things than those autoflower. And Bubba Kush is not big yield. Okay, fuck that shit. I was really a bit upset about it because I had faith on them, but I've kind of a bit like I would like to try some of those things that you offer because make me really think that yeah, outdoor sometime if you time your shit good, everything they have their place, and heard of people doing a lot more cycle in a year in a greenhouse with the two flower, and they were filling in the row
Yeah,
and like in between the row with them, and they were saying it all go in pre-roll.
yeah, oh, yeah. It's just
I
filler.
think
It's all
Lowrider
filler. Yeah.
I think Lowrider really damaged the autoflower name by coming out a little too early with something with a product that wasn't really that good. And now 20 years later, autos are having to rebrand themselves and prove themselves to everybody over again, you know?
But the
And
quality has gone up. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, the
no, it
quality
look
has
way
sure
better
gone
than
up.
yeah.
Yeah, it's sure gone up a lot, but yeah, I still it's still not quite as good. I would say just your
But
Yeah.
I was just wondering, where is those all those early strain that we had in Canada and other place like that? Isn't like they are too lower quality, or where they are gone now?
Well, as far as my strains, I brought the Avalon back, which was an outdoor variety. I
Yeah.
I have lost my Bonkers strain, which is a kick-ass.
Yeah, that's
Um,
one that we've tried over here. I remember that one. I've lost it too. I'm sorry.
yeah,
But
I have very few seeds of it left, and it was just amazing and large. And like I always tell everybody when I'm on a podcast or a show, if there's anybody who has any branches of well, any lines of that bonker strain, it was just phenomenal. The resin on this was stupid. It was a blend of quite a few different strains actually, and the first few years was so good. Yeah, there was a part of the mail that I had for it. The original cross was a Burmese grapefruit, um, which were both super resinous and stinky. That brought all the smell. But there was a strain from the bikers out in Manitoba. It was called Purple Motherfucker, and read the Lethal Purple and a few of those strains that were, and some of the Durban as well. And these old boys had these Durbans and this Purple Motherfucker. And the Purple Motherfucker was large and leafy, but had so much resin. I think they were just making hash out of it in the old days. And I got it denser with the grapefruit and Burmese. And yeah, it was just I wish I had it back right now. I would cut off a finger to have that back.
yeah, that's funny. One of those things that I remember back then was the Mighty Freeze that we had over here that I was tripping balls with it because I was like, holy crap, man, it's really loud smell for that. Like I wasn't believing that both of those things when they are crossed together make really better. But the bunker was one of those that we tried because I was like, wait a minute, it's a baseball bat thing on that chart. I
Yeah,
want it.
yeah, it was like almost like a football, like an
Yeah,
American
that's exactly
football.
right.
Some of the vibes on this, they weren't. It wasn't the densest of strain. It was a little on the fluffy side, but it was huge and crystally and lime green, and
Yeah, I
phenomenal.
wasn't too dry sifting it, so that's one of the thing I did with, because yeah, it's too leafy to trim it.
Yeah, yeah. So some of the phenotypes were on the leafy side, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's a bit like
somebody
the
out
Hindu
there has
Kush,
some.
yeah. You know,
I'm sure somebody out there has some crosses of it. I know actually. Um, yeah, when I first moved to, I know Arian at Greenhouse still has a selection of my. I did a big strain swap with him when I first moved to Europe, and he's got some I know stored somewhere of that first original batch. We did a big strain swap back then, and but Greenhouse they've got so many strains stored away. Yeah,
yeah, its seed vault is like incredible. It's I've heard of it a few times. That like every time that he heard about something, he's like, yeah, give me whatever. I don't know how many pack you want, but it seemed to be a really still a collector of it. Yeah.
yeah. He's got literally has barrels and barrels and fridges full of these strains. So probably never no one's going to have time to ever work with. Him and Franco. Franco was a good guy, and Franco was the real weed geek. I got along really great with him, and yeah, too bad he's not around.
Yeah. Well, that quest in Congo was something that I've read a bit lately about the there's a big following on the Congo strain and all that thing. I was wondering, is there for you a quest of more tropical stuff that you're into? You're into the Mexican and the Colombian strains?
Yeah, well, I worked with I get some friends from Colombia. I worked with the Colombian Red and the Punto Rojo, and back in the day, a lot of the old Oaxacan strains. Really enjoyed it, but right now down here, since I've been in South America, in Argentina and Chile, there's some Brazilian strains that I'm working with right now, doing some selecting from. Very very branchy, kind of like the old grapefruit from back in the day. Super branchy, and but more of that sativa spicy smell to it. So I'm some of the Brazilian stuff here uh, is quite amazing, and that's what I've been mostly impressed with local genetics. Like in Argentina and Chile, they have some of their local strains that have been here for a long time, but it's nothing really to brag about. There's nothing really that stands out too strong. Um, and they get a lot of brickweed from Paraguay. Paraguay is the big production region for down here, and it's just the quality's nothing to rave about. But the Brazilian, there's some genetics in Brazil, in the southern Brazil, that are amazing. And a lot of it, actually, some of the Paraguayan weed that is grown here and just sold in bricks does come from the Brazilian, but it's not cured right. They just sell it off in $200 a kilo in bricks, and it's just not grown right. It's not cured right. So you can find some good seeds in some of this brickweed, but you get to I've gotten to know some of the guys from the north of the country and in Brazil, and I've got a couple different varieties of Brazilian weed, just testing it out right now, and I've been impressed with a lot of it. But the Argentinian stuff's not so good, not so good, for whatever reason. I don't know, but
Would you put some link to India or some Africa or some place like that for the source of those variety? Are they looking some like some stuff from origin, whatever?
yeah, I think a lot of it's been kicking around down here because you know Brazil. A lot of it came from like Colombia, Panama, or the north of South America, and a lot of those genetics would come down to Brazil. So it started off, I think, with a lot of the Colombian varieties, but then they were kind of acclimatized to the southern part of Brazil, where a lot of the growers in the southern Brazil would supply a lot of the market here in Chile, Paraguay, and Argentina, and Uruguay even. So, but now it's a good thing to get some of those genetics kept aside before they're starting to get adulterated with the Dutch and Spanish genetics. Because it's hard to compete with that.
So it's a good time to do some preservation run and put them in the fridge.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So
Okay.
no, I've come here at a good time. The legalization process is just getting into the system. Yeah, it still hasn't been too adulterated by us foreigners. So and yeah, and I want to bring good genetics here, but I don't want to wreck the good varieties that are here. They got to preserve those land race strains and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh, I got a visitor here. Hello. Hello. I'm on a live show right now. So yeah, I'm in Rosario right now, staying in the city here at a hostel. We got our first house tomorrow, and it's getting properties lined up, and yeah.
Nice, nice, exciting, exciting. Well, I don't know anybody else got any more questions for Jay. We won't hold them up too long here, I don't think.
I'm down to about
I
5 minutes after my battery, so
Yeah, right. That's what I
was
was looking at the time.
I was just curious on what the popular cultivars were there. Maybe you asked that already.
there isn't really anything that really stands out. There's a few copies of some good. Well, they've copied a lot of the American stuff. They got the Monster. They had the Critical come through here, but it's kind of wore out. Um, but there is some really good Argentinian breeders, and they have their own selection of genetics, and some of it is just copies of the Dutch and Spanish and North American varieties crossed with their local varieties. You're seeing quite a bit of those. There's some breeders like called Poco Humo, Mountain Seeds, and a few of these companies down here that are doing good work. Mary Seeds. Yeah, there is some really nice weed here, but it's usually most of it's hybridized with North American or European genetics. The companies here that are making a headway. So yeah, but yeah, hopefully more and more Canadian stuff here. And I've had nothing
Cool.
but good reports from everything they've tried of mine here. So I'm happy about that.
How is
And
the vibe towards foreigners, having just gotten back from Thailand recently?
Okay. It's not too bad. Canadians are pretty strange. We're an anomaly down here, like kind of exotic. They're used to having Spanish and Portuguese and Italians here. Um, yeah, a few Americans, and we're pretty much the only Canadians that have entered the market down here, and they're pretty friendly with us. They don't like the English because they had that war a few years ago. But other than that,
Oh yeah.
they treat us pretty good. So I've been treated pretty good here, and people have been
Yeah.
really helpful to me. And no, I like the culture, like the food. Women are beautiful. So so yeah, what more can I
Nice.
say?
Just don't bring up the Falkland Islands, right?
No, no, no.
No,
The
no.
Malvinas.
Yeah,
But
that's a
right on,
funny
guys.
one.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. And yeah, man, give my best to Justin there, man. Yeah, the crazy story you shared with us there in the beginning. So
Yeah, it's yeah, we're turning it around.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, man. I look
awesome,
forward to those
awesome, yeah.
Instagram posts for the next news on it.
Right on. Sounds good, guys.
All right, take care.
Well, take care, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Bye bye.
Well, that was awesome.
Cool. Right.
There we go. Yeah, that was
We'll be
awesome.
drinking.
That's exciting. That was a legend. Yeah, we sorry, Poten, we had to kind of get started without you there. He had limited
Oh,
battery
it's fine.
left, so we jumped right on it.
Well, it's
All good.
recorded and in the box now, so we're good.
Awesome. Yeah, getting crazy. Like my one of my ex assistants, the guy I really enjoyed working with, is was the guy who got arrested with him down in Argentina there. So small world. It's crazy.
Nice.
That's always like the most funny part to be with a new person. Let's say you go a trip and your buddy is like, "Oh yeah, just don't be surprised the story I will tell at the custom, you know, because I have to tell them
I
that it have happened before."
I do have some stuff to declare here.
I think I got a special one for you guys. Can I get a cup of coffee and a seat? Because I think it's gonna take a good 5 minutes. I like it. Well, it's not the most easy thing to live through, and being handcuffed and going to the toilets. I mean, it's not bad if you go forward, but if you try to go backward, it kind of doesn't reach the way you want.
Thinking the bidets aren't particularly good there, you know?
Yeah, they don't have bidet over there, and no Japanese toilets with a
Yeah.
small sound to cover your fart, right?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen bidets in South America in my travels.
What they
I
got
think,
hole?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all just, yeah. I can't remember ever seeing a bidet anywhere in South
You have to
America.
aim in the hole. I don't like that one, man. When I've
Yeah.
seen people traveling and showing that, I'm like, you know, I feel like just being my back on the trees, it's already like the level of comfort. I find it okay, but trying to aim loose over a hole, it's too much, man. I'm not sure I'm ready to travel right now. I have to mentally prepare for. It's okay, but I can get over, but it's not super something I wish. So, yeah,
I think
well,
that's definitely something I brought back from Asia was switching to bidets for sure. They don't have those.
yeah.
Um,
But
I
you
got
know,
a
just a basic necessity is stuff that I worry the most when I travel. Like just in the country here, I'm like, okay, I just want to be sure where I'm gonna wash, and yeah, I don't want to go in public bathroom if I don't have to.
got I got some more genetics available. If anyone didn't get any of the Temple Tie from Jordan's drop, I got some
Nice.
low high from there from that previous drop, and then we got the Buddha Tie Massive Next Gen. So this is the F2s of the Buddha Tie, the giant Temple Ties.
Nice.
This one has some banana and some peach terps in that one. The first round was more peachy. The second round came out with some banana and some peach. So that's something else to look forward to if you're interested in that. Then we got the sweet temple Thai, which is the sweet Thai, which had some coffee flavors and the coffee and mango, the two Pinots in it, crossed with the giant temple Thai, and then some of the Buddha's sugar, which is a really frosty sugar cane, crossed with the Buddha massive temple Thai. So if anyone was looking for those
Fuck
beans,
yeah.
didn't get them in Jordan's round, yeah, I got some more. So hit me up on whatever platform, just DM me. We'll get you the
Nice.
info to get the hold of those. And I also got some drops coming out with Mr. Green Jean. He just dropped my Jamaican Blue Mountain and Orange Hill. He crossed those two to make like a new Jamaican, hybrid. And then he crossed that with the one of the better ones with that with his cherry bomb, stabilized it. So he's got that available
Cool.
now, and some others. Yeah, he's got a
Damn.
couple of new stuff that's out.
Now
Yeah,
those ones sound interesting to me. Those ones sound real interesting.
So we're gonna fill your basement with. We're gonna put plant over that aquarium you got there. We need an NFT that run through. Put your bedroom over there with all the plant in that pot. It would be dope.
Not enough fish in there, I don't think, but
You don't have enough fish, I know, but we can solve that problem pretty quick. Well, I was thinking at that Avalon strain that you've launched, and there's one of the hybrid. It's with I think a purple berry. I'm not sure. Is it that one? You had a
purple
purple
bear.
He's
Romulan.
got a blackberry. This is a
Yeah,
blackberry cross the BSBB, which is the Pajoa Kush's blackberry crossed with something. I forget the exact lineage on that.
It must
I
be
have to
that
look up my
Romulan cross.
sheets.
Yeah, that's one of those the good stuff. But the Avalon is really something. It's gonna be short, early, and frosty. That's for sure. But there was the banner cross that he had on the website. The picture, I think it's the mother banner.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just looked like frost rail, like so incredible. Like as you look at that, it's like, holy crap, man! You don't want to trim it. You just want to
Like
throw it over the sifting table.
the
I
banner
went through
icon.
the website a bit. I was like, holy crap, man. Where's
Yeah.
my credit card? Oh, no, 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 no. The number on my bill is not are not good. I cannot add more. Yeah, I would, yeah, you're looking at it, yeah.
Let's,
Oh, Avalon CBD, Let's Not Yeah, that's the one who was talking, the Colombian with the Oaxaca. Yeah, look at that snowbank stuff. That's pretty dope, man. Bruce Banner and grapefruit. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna get fruity with a kind of strawberry, a bit of zesty in it. Holy crap, it must be so smelly. Thrive on low
Snowbank is
ppm.
an astounding hybrid with very high THC levels. The buds and smaller leaves are covered with resin crystals, a blend of our grapefruit and our resinous banner selection. It's very vigorous growing plant with medium to high yield, great bag appeal, easy to trim, amazing smoke, thrives in low ppm fertilizers. Oh, God damn it. Get out of here. Uh, don't overwater if you're growing in soil.
I don't know if it would like the weather and really humid fall, but I'm pretty sure that kind of thing. It would be my smoke, man. Low trimming job on it. Holy crap.
Oh yeah. This oh the this was the other one he was talking about, right? The blue dynamite.
Yeah, that's the one he was saying. That's a big yielder,
And
really
I'll put it
easy
back
to
up.
grow.
Put this one up.
Well, grapefruit is one of those things that is easy to grow and yield a lot. The 10 Canadian strain of all time.
We didn't even, yeah, he has, we didn't even talk about, he has cannabis cups. Like we didn't really get into any of that.
Well, I would say the best cup is the one that you feel of weed in it that you're gonna smoke with your friend tonight. It's that kind of cup. It's the best. You're gonna impress with this thing. The grapefruit diesel, it really reek of fruity stuff. So yeah, he's into good stuff. It's gonna taste. I don't know if there's any producer that have his strain. Sometimes they rename stuff, so it's a bit hard to know who got what where. Yeah.
Figured that I'll do another quick shameless plug. Uh,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
teaching in person, a 5 day in person aquaponic workshop that covers all crops. We'll touch on weed a little bit, but it's mostly not geared specifically toward weed like the online classes. Um, it'll be teach 5 days out in Oklahoma, and we'll be going through design and all the different aspects. You can check it out at aquaponicmasterclass.com. You can get the info for that. We'll be teaching at Olive Branch Aquaponics in Oklahoma.
Fuck
So
yeah,
that'll
that's
be
cool.
cool.
Hell
You
yeah,
can
that'd be
check out
cool.
on the website, and then if you're wanting the hotels and stuff like that, that's all on the website as well. We got links to all the local ones. So check that out. You'll have lunch provided each day and a barbecue on Friday. So yeah, it's Wednesday through Sunday. Be a 40-hour class in that time, or 38 to 40 hours. We'll see how quickly we get through the curriculum, how many questions you'll have. But
Nice.
yeah, it'll be the first 5 day version of the class that we've taught. So adding a bunch of cool new stuff and a lot more stuff on the microbials. It's also cool with the 5 day because we can do like some of the KNF stuff and some of the microbial inputs from start to finish with the workshop. So that was one of the other decisions to do
That's
5 days.
cool.
I can kind of teach you the beginning of it on the first day and then watch it mature as it goes and stuff like that. So yeah,
And you've shown us some slide that you had for it that was going into all the major point you have to look for, and that's one of the thing I found really interesting. It's those deep level, like what's the point you have to look for?
yeah, we go through all the different nutrients, the ppm ranges in aquaponics, how to dose with organic and non-organic inputs. To get to those, if you need to adjust it, all the pest control stuff and release rates for beneficial insects, for the different square footages and all that. It really covers just about everything that you could run into, um, from all the different aspects. So yeah,
Sweet.
I'm
Yeah.
looking through the chat, and there's a Gursky that have a pair. He was talking when we've talked about the beta
oh
earlier. He said that our water is loaded with fluorine and other chemical that will be bad for your cereals getting sprayed every day. I don't know if it's good for your intestinal flora, but whatever,
yeah,
man. I'm not sure.
I don't think it'd be a problem for external use. It'd be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
You
But
swim
uh,
in worse of the public pool, so
yeah, just don't drink it. Also, I mean, maybe purify it with
yeah,
some carbon filter activate
don't boof
something.
it, right? Like you're not trying to give yourself an enema. You're just trying to
Yeah, you just
cross
wash it. You
paths.
don't. Yeah. He was saying also he got few Kimbo Kush crosses rolling around in his garden. He had the it's by exotic genetic. I don't know Garski for that cross, but I would say try some stuff from Jake, as for sure you'll get some that will be really frost resistant and all that thing over there. But yeah, there's all kind of thing. I would be curious to see the Thailand things in Colorado. I don't know if it could get toward the end and
I
get
don't know
some
if you're gonna
seats.
get those. Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get the without depping them. I don't know if you're gonna get ties up to finish in Colorado.
Well, what we used it
Like,
to say back then was, if the plant can still finish seeds from it, I'll still grow it. In few years, maybe I'll get early enough, or I have a cross of it, right?
maybe
So,
yeah, cross
Evil,
it with
evil.
something.
Have you not figured out the Canadian fucking seed trick? Have
what's
you not
that?
figured that out? Oh my goodness. Well, what you do is you start your females inside, right? You get them flowering, you pollinate them inside. Now then you take them out, you harden them off outside and you let them finish off outside. They're already fertilized, so the seeds finish no matter what.
Right,
Like
yeah.
even though the light, so like you won't get you're not gonna get the best bud off it, but your seeds are gonna finish.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Uh, it's not something
I
I
am
did really
surprised you didn't
often.
know that. I'm surprised you
No,
don't
I
use that
know.
cheat code.
I know
Oh
that
yeah,
tricks,
that's
but I wasn't thinking at that at all. Because there's one thing that I've also learned is like there's a lot of things that you can just plant over there, backwood, and straight in the spot, and it gonna grow and be ready in time. And if you cannot go there, well, it's gonna be your seed stash for the next 5 years. And everybody around will get some pollen from you. But I don't care, man. If it's good, it's generous of you. Right? All those people having the beautiful backseat that are not arm. I mean, it's nearly like a gift for me because normally when I've heard of people saying, "Oh, I got something really good. I got some seeds of it." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah. So what's the story of the breeding?" "Oh, I found some seeds in that thing that I was buying clone." I'm like, uh, "Where those seeds are coming from?"
you talk about a
So
strong
no
genetic
thanks.
progeny.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm interested into breeding of any kind of thing. I like those things. I like preservation. I like evolution. I like those cross. Whatever you do with it, I'm interested in that kind of thing. But if it's just like I don't know what happened, it's magical. It's coming out of the bottle. Um, yeah, we can pass over. There's also that thing that I got. Oh, that bag, that old seeds from back in the days. I mean, guys, can you stop calling something a year when you've reproduced it since? You can say that you've collected that year. It's cool. Everybody can talk about it. But like, if you say a Bubakush pre-98, we're past 98 now. We can talk about Bubakush 2024. It's okay. If you made seeds since, it's now that version. It's now. It's not the old seeds. You've not
No,
come out of the freezer with it for most of the time.
the pre-98 Bubba is pretty good though. It's hard to find, but I've had it. There's a buddy of
The
mine
real
that got
cut.
it in Oklahoma. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's good. Is it more like a coffee and scent smell? I would
really
say.
loud. Though
Yeah.
this one wasn't coffee and incense. This one was more. I'm trying to remember what it was. I want to say cheesy, but I don't think it was.
Is there some of those strain that I'm not sure? I know something else that smell like that I could say it smell like that. Yeah, it's always hard to describe those things.
Never mind. I was thinking of his other one. But yeah, a buddy of mine did have a really good pre-98 Bubba Cup for a while. I actually asked him about it like 2 or 3 months ago, and he doesn't have anymore.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I like the fact that it's not a loud grassy or skunky, whatever Afghani. It was just really kind of different for me, at least when I've tried it first. And I've bought some when it went legal here first. In fact, it's the first thing I've tried. It wasn't bad. I was like, oh, that's cool. And the year after, they did not had it anymore. I think they figured out the yield was a bit low. And that's one of the problem with some of the old classic. It being hyped up because it's fun to smoke, not to grow.
Well, and it's hard to hang on to that many cuts. It's just a lot of work to fucking hang on to a lot of to everything, you know what I mean? Like it
Man, it's too much stress for me. I mean, if I had to hold on the clone, I had to get a team of people, I think, or otherwise I would be too much stress about it. But if you can reproduce from seed your thing and rely on finding it back the same kind of level of quality in those seeds, it's way more easy to share seeds that gonna be started or used by others and then go back to it. To me, it's really that clone thing is like, yeah, once you found that clone, you can do a lot of progeny or put that in production. But a lot of those really good clones, they are more useful for the breeders and itself than the production that much. Because I mean, the production, yeah, they got the best, whatever. But they may have problem of virus, they may have pests and things like that. They have to sometimes store it in tissue culture. I mean, now they start to have more mean to keep it,
well,
but
that is the danger of a clone because you
yeah,
keep one thing and you allow your pests to go through multiple generations and are allowed to target the same thing over and over and over and over and over so they get back. That's generally the problem with apples. That's like we grow basically five main types of apples, and because they're grown from grafted stock, they never change genetically, and they as a result, the pests get to keep targeting the same thing every year, but the pests evolve and get stronger towards the pesticides and all that type of stuff.
yeah.
But
When Jay was breeding on the island, he was. I remember reading or maybe an interview, whatever. He was saying it took 3 years to rule out those crap, and when I remember at least for a while, I was thinking, oh, it had need about 3 seasons from a variety that you give me. It's a per variety, whatever. In 3 seasons, it will lean where I want with it, and I will have kind of clean it for what is good over here. And his Avalon stuff, where I did not wanted to breed it in Spain, it makes sense to me, but at the same time, I've always dreamed of a strain that will be a bit like the bulletproof that we try everywhere. It always rely on that shit. It always looks super nice, and it's that noob proof things. Like, I don't know, the cookie M39 stuff. We're gonna make a spill proof bottle of milk with cookies for toddler. It will be perfect, no?
well, there's a question for chat. What's the most bulletproof strain that could probably be grown anywhere? Go.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What would be it? Yeah, don't start say fuck. Do that mean cut stop evolution? Well, a cut don't evolve. It express differently over time and different condition. But if you can,
Oh, like the same
uh,
cut will look completely different
yeah.
outdoors versus indoors versus, and then even like epigenetic expression after I'd say 3 to 5 grows in a different grow, they'll look like a different plant anyways.
But to me, it's a plasticity of that phenotype. It's not much than like the plasticity of that phenotype. There's some variety that you can put that clone in all different environment and it's expressed similarly. There's other that will express differently in some environment and they still may be good in some environment that are different.
And
But
then you'll have
some
some
others just go
plants
to shit.
and you'll have some plants that just look the same everywhere,
Yeah, that's what
like
I
a
mean.
deep
There's
chunk
some
or
like that.
whatever. There's some that are just so strong that like whatever they look the same everywhere.
But when
Like
they change, sometimes they don't change for the worse. Sometimes they just express something good of it. I remember one friend who was telling me about he had a cold run of a strain, and where I was like, "What you mean cold run?" He was like, "Well, my heater was broken. So I've added another light in there to keep it from freezing at night, to have like a sleep of 12 hours from one side and 12 hours the other side, to keep the temp more equal like that. But in Celsius, his average was 15 to 18 Celsius. And he said
That's a nice temp.
everything was good. Yeah, the yield was lower, but he never had a beautiful plant and therapy and all that. Yeah, the yield was lower. But honestly, one of the plant was looking like a Northern Light A's with a kind of lemony terp to it too, when it was in a hot room. There, it was looking like a short shit roll. It was shorter, it was frostier, the buds were not big, but it was looking like a freaking shit roll. It wasn't looking like a Northern Light Ace at all. So we're wondering a bit, is it because it's Northern Light number 2 and not number 5 that have been used at one point and with the hybrid, whatever? And we're just we're theorizing about it, but we just found it really funny how both run were really expressing something good of the strain, but totally different looking from it. It really, it wasn't the thing that you can give it to the 10 grow and have the same result. That one is one of those that mm, you may have good in cold room or temperate room, but the really hot one, you're gonna have crap from it. Let's say that. It did not like it super hot, warm room, even if it was looking more sativa in those rooms. so, so it's something to notice also. I think you need to try your strain, the clone in different environment and see. I don't know. It's maybe not always useful for everyone, but I think for me, for the taste of it, sometimes it expresses a taste way louder in temperate or cold. Sometimes the hot temp. One thing I remember, there was some strain that was always going that roundabout that wasn't stretching crazy and doing weird stuff when it was warm. So it's good to know which one you want to. So I think there's some stuff also that when you start from seeds, they don't mind to be in the cold. I would be confident that to say that is Avalon when you started from and it's still cold in the greenhouse, they would not mind as much.
Renchi talked about planting Himalayan strains in the fall for the following spring and having them overwinter underground.
I've heard of it, yeah, because they don't always grow well if they don't pass with a cold time. Like I remember some they were saying like you have to winterize. How do you call it? Is it winterize or stratification?
I mean, officially it'd be cold stratification, but winterize
Stratification. Okay,
is
that's the
the
word.
official.
Yeah, because they still have that wild tendency to need that to go in dormancy and then wake up. I would not be surprised because I remember there was a strain that if you don't put them in the fridge for a week or two, the seeds you had lower germination and they were not all equal. But most of them were ending up germing, but you always had some that were germing way later on. And if you put them in stratification, they were more equal. I think there must be a signal in it. Yeah, Lone Star say you think it evolved as fast as Predator. I think that a lot of Predator, because of their quicker life cycle, they will outcompete some plant, but plant can still have a good defensive system. I would be surprised. I've just seen like if you get healthy soil and nutriment to your plant, it will already help to invite a lot of good bugs to fight it off. At least it seemed to. But yeah, if you grow the same thing in in a remote place and you've never seen bugs, for the first year or two. It's just a matter of time. I'm telling you, I've never heard of anyone never having bugs when they cultivate 5, 10 years at the same place. You're gonna pass through that cycle like everyone else. The bug will find you. They come with the wine. They come with, I don't know, maybe the smell must be something, but they end up coming and finding your place.
I don't know, man. If you got bugs in your wine, you have some alcoholic ass bugs.
Not in my wine. Dude, we had some freaking Asian bill to clean out from the grape so much that at one point my boss was saying, I can taste when you guys are forgetting too many of them. I was like, oh, holy crap, I've drank so much of that wine. I'll double check if there's none of them. Like, I mean, yeah, I like bugs, but not like that. Okay, I prefer bee spit than crushed uh, crushed bugs like that. I don't know. No, yeah, there's a limit of what you like in bee in bugs and bees and stuff. Yeah. Well, I had a girlfriend that was asking me for the larva, the big male larva. When I got a brood of male larva, when I've looked at her biting into the honeycomb uh, just beside it, and then taking a bite of that, I was like, I think that my culture it make tell me like I should not do that. I don't know, but there's a there's just something a bit weird to me that have those larvae and swallowing them and crushing them, whatever. But when you press on them, it looks like milk inside. I'm just not sure. I've seen her eating it, and she was like, "Yeah, try it." I've bite on one, and that was enough for me. I mean, it's not
GMO
disgusting, but it's not really tasty too.
GMO bees milk.
Yeah, there's maybe a bit of. Well, there's a really strange thing is, yeah, well, when the bees are really upset, they have that smell that we say it smell a bit like banana. It's not really banana, but there's something to it that when you smell it one time, you'll never forget it. It really trigger your brain and something that you're like, holy crap, and you're not sure that you should stay there. It's not banana, I want some. It's a kind of banana that you would not like to get around. But it's kind of interesting to. Yeah, I
I don't
don't
know.
remember what's the compound in it.
I don't know what banana is.
Well, the banana. Well,
Banana. Banana.
Na na na. Hey hey.
well,
Bathtub bee vomit tastes amazing.
yeah, a smell of bees,
Even
banana milk,
even better
and
if you
it was
ferment it
crushed larva.
with some mushrooms, like some psychedelic mead.
Well, have you
Traditional
ever
Viking way.
made some infused honey that
Oh
you've been
yeah.
happy of the
Oh
mix? Because
yeah. We used to
I've
make
heard
blue
of
mead.
people mixing oil
Yeah.
with it, and I would advise to okay. First, if you want
So
to mix oil with honey, it will separate over time. So
Yep.
shelf life, like forget that over
no,
time.
what you can do is 3% vitamin E, acetate, and then sonication, and it'll keep it from separating so much.
Because I would turn it into a creamy honey to make it more shelf stable. Also not in liquid. Uh, Maybe some people don't like it for dosage application, but I think if you have it in creamy, you will always have that crystallization that hold it together a bit more, unless it get warm too much. But at room temperature, it would hold it.
Now, for the rest of y'all dummies like me, I had to look up sonification. Sonification is a process of applying sound to agitate particles, discontinuous fibers in a liquid, ultrasonic frequency of less than 20 hertz are usually used.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have a really nice sonicator, and we have a second one at the shop because we have two different types.
Crazy.
Yeah,
so you
I
use
it
it to
feel
sounds
like
kind of
I
like
need a
melt?
it
sonicator
sounds
now.
it sounds like you. Oh yeah, if you're serious on edibles, like you need one. But if it sounds like you're trapping the souls of like damaged pterodactyls into a beaker. It sounds like if you're not used to the sound, it's like an automated version of like fingernails on a chalkboard. Like you have to be used to the sound, or you will like
Okay, so
that, or get
what does
yourself
it
some
what
headphones.
is it what is the process? What's it do to the process? Like what like it just keeps
So it
it in
causes
it just
cavitation in the oils, and it like breaks them down and nano emulsifies them and makes them really tiny. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff with it that you can't do in terms of bioavailability without
huh.
it. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff, but you can also like rip apart the DNA of stuff with it too. So like if somebody robs you and you need to find out where they hid all the stash, you can just jam it up their ass and threaten to denature their DNA from the inside.
It
Or,
bothers me how
just
you know all these.
duct tape their
Nature
hand
or
duct
DNA?
tape their hand to it.
I've
Be like,
never
listen,
threatened someone
how
of
much
it.
do you like the DNA in those fingers of yours? And
And here I thought we had to put him in a bath with an electric eel, but
yeah, no, this is far more painful. The sonication and the nerve endings is way more painful if you actually grab this thing while it's running. You will regret it severely.
so
Okay.
what
But
kind of price tag on a sonication unit?
I mean, on the lower end, you're looking at like 1200. The one that I have is like a nice lab one, so we're talking about 4800 bucks.
Okay.
But I can also like mine does up to 3000 um 3000 volts, 3000 watts, 2000 watts online. But you can get them bigger and beefier, but I can do 2 liters at a time with mine. So, you know, how much base oil do you need? Like, and then the one we have at the shop, I can run like 25 or 30 liters at a time in a batch. It's a pump, circulates it through the system. So it's
Cool.
pretty dope.
Huh.
There's a pig in the chat that asks about sound vibration that affect dry sifting much. I would say that first, I know a guy back then was having his subwoofer horizontally with a dry sifting table on it, and he was just playing some music and letting it go and turn over the material. Sometime that's it. Like it had a bit of some something on the side to not have the weed spilling all over. But that was pretty much it. And when he heard about the tumbler with the small electric motor, I was like, "Oh, that sounds good, but I think my technique have something special to it." And
He's
yeah,
probably
well,
right.
yeah,
Let's
because
put your
he's
dry sift on a
yeah,
sound plate.
exactly. You can do that. You can learn about drawing with dry sift on the table like that.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
But look at the pattern. Now you don't need a
Oh,
card to
fuck.
make it together. You just need the different frequency like that. How many hertz?
yeah.
So it's really funny.
It's so
But yeah,
crazy.
that tricks work. There's one thing that I remember saying is there's like those dry separator, whatever, for scientific things that I've seen really cheap sometime. And there's some cleaner, I think, with
There was,
yeah, with the sound stuff.
there was a guy I met 4 or 5 times at different events, and he invented or claimed to have invented this method where you had like you'd mix up some kind of salts. I don't remember exactly what he was using, but raising the pH to like 8 or 8.5 in the water, and then chilling it, and then taking the weed, putting it like the whole plant in the water, putting an electrode onto the like dipping the whole plant and then pulling it back up, clipping an electrode onto the base of it with an insulated uh, clamp, and then put another electrode in the water and was like electroplating the trichomes off, like basically using the like charge to break the sessile layer. And I thought that was pretty interesting, like as a concept. And I like never heard anything after that. Like a couple of years ago, this guy
I've
said he
heard of
really,
that thing, yeah. I've never seen it
but
again after, and I've never seen any equipment that will be related to that too. It's weird.
yeah, I was just kind of curious. Maybe chat knows a little bit about that, but it's one of the more interesting methods I've heard of that I thought was peculiar from a chemistry
Well,
standpoint.
it's always funny when I remember those ad about the power in the water and stuff. There was some electric in the water of the hydro system. Later on, I think it's the same company that have that frequency with the spray that you spray your plant and with that frequency, oh, whatever, man. There's some study that proves some
Changes the
good side
gender
of
and
it,
political
but
affiliation of your plants.
yeah, I don't know, man. The sound for your plant, it's kind of a you go too far, man. And the electricity in the water when you're growing, I'm not sure your worker want that. I don't know. There's some funny things like that. I'm not sure. But if you want to make dry sieve, I think the oldest method still work. And the essential part is really drying it well, having dry, cold condition to work with, and start with being clean also. I mean, even in those poor country, they go and take a plastic tarp and work over. At least they try to. So, I mean, yeah. Being clean is one of the essential part because when you got cats or whatever animal, if you got a husky around, those hair are floating all over, and whatever you do, you're gonna have some.
Remember, there was that guy that got trapped in the cloud of trichomes and died with the anaphylactic shock. Remember that? Let's find that.
No, no. Did he
Yeah,
get his name on the Hall of Fame of cannabis something? Because he should.
What? That's like the only dude that's like ever died from weed. Like
Man, can you type it, Google,
what?
please?
yeah. Here,
That's
here.
weird.
Guy.
This is the case I was thinking about.
That's
Um,
really funny one. Dude,
It's
See,
like the
I
only
I
person
bet you
who died of
anything. It's like
weed.
I bet you anything. It's like a fucking lemonine fucking allergy fucking, and it's
That
not
was
even
my
that.
thought. My thought was anaphylaxis from limonene because
Yeah,
some people I've seen in patients
yeah.
that
Some
have that.
people are
And
highly
this
allergic to
person
no, she
developed
had asthma crisis.
onset asthma and later died of a fatal asthma attack from the Keith, like
it.
cloud airborne Keith.
That's some killer bud.
It is some killer bud.
Okay,
Eh,
okay, so we no longer call it killer green bud, it's just killer bud for that one. Okay. She
Killer
did
bud.
no,
wear
but
a
it's like
N95 mask. Okay.
it's like the only 27 in Massachusetts. But it's like the only like death from weed that's like actually legit, like from the plant.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I
The,
find it hard to believe she had nothing else in her system.
Well, my question is, is this
Was
like
she
have like
double
cystic fibrosis
vaccinated?
or
I that
something?
I need
Like,
to know too.
yes. Well, what year was? Yeah, this is after the jab, so it's possible. January 22nd.
Oh man, see, there you go. Like not even.
Oh, January 2022. Oh, yeah.
I'm going with she got the jab and that took her out. And they're blaming it on the fucking weed.
okay, well, there's something funny about it. It's not like if someone dived in a pool of keef and being like, gonna die. Well, I
You know, like
don't-
the cinnamon challenge, but with Keith. I'm choking on it because you breathed it in or something.
I don't know. I tried the Tide Pod challenge, and I'm still biting a tiny bit every day. I'm not able to take a big bite, you know. Once the challenge is too late, because I'm still going up.
Oh, this makes way
Oh
more
man,
sense.
I
This makes way
I
more
started
sense. Look at
typing
who it
in.
was though.
Okay,
It was
here.
Truly
I
one of Truliev's fucking facilities. So no wonder they had problems. They're like the worst. They're the most cardboard of the cardboard weed producers.
worse than Aurora.
Yeah. No, they're worse. They Trulieve owns about 60% of the 50-60% of the US market now. And they give no fucks about quality. Ooh, fuck.
Well, there was a thing that I've tried was called Sedaman, but it should have been called Sadaman, because when I've tried some, I was really sad that it wasn't working that much. You know, when you're buying some edible to go to sleep, and you end up swallowing the biggest handful of it to be able to go to sleep, and you end up being awake all night long because it barely do something. Like, wait a minute, how much is that? Oh, 5 milligram. Oh, okay. That must be had a handful of them and I think I feel something. I'm not sure. Take another handful, maybe. No, not good. But yeah, I have to say, hand down the gummies. I've never tried some gummies tasting as good than those that they sell that are supposed to be with infused THC. I don't know how much they've put in it, but I just hope they give us more gummies for that taste. It's good. They got it. Just forget the infused part because it doesn't work. But give me more gummies. I'm all in. So, what's your best patent stuff? Do you have any homemade recipe, Wes?
I don't know. I got distracted here. I'm gonna be honest. I got completely distracted because I started typing in person a guy dies from, and I left it there when we started talking, and I looked back over and I seen jerking off, and I clicked it, and I never knew that there was such an epidemic of dying from jerking off. It's quite amazing. There was a teen in Jerome Carpenter was found dead 56 times and apparently had a heart attack. And then another one in Pakistan 62 times and had a heart attack as well.
So you
Then
mean
there was
that
a
it's the
then there
number
was a
of time that they finish?
I guess
Who's
so. I don't
counted?
like how I don't know who was keeping count.
Because there was somebody looking at it for that whole time. Come on, dude.
And
What the fuck?
then there was a Brazilian 42-time teenagers, and yeah,
I'm just
I
saying,
never. What I'm
just
saying is
saying, the
this is an
goat.
unspoken epidemic.
Don't forget the goat. David Carradine
Oh,
died
oh,
while strangling himself in a Bangkok hotel closet.
Oh, there was a fucking there was a British politician who died doing that when I was like a teenager, man. Like he was his family found him asphyxiated, like wrapped in fucking plastic from head to toe, like jerking off, and he asphyxiated himself inside there, inside the fucking plastic.
uh,
Okay, here we go.
there
Here we
there's
go.
some strange things happening in. Yeah, okay.
Peter Anthony Marteau, English author, playwright.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
You got composer, some old dude.
Okay, the Carradine, his body was found near naked and hanging by a rope in a closet in his hotel room in Thailand. There was evidence of a recent orgasm. two autopsies were conducted and concluded that his death was not a suicide, and the Thai forensic pathologist examining the body stated that his death may have been due to autoerotic asphyxiation. Uh, it's weird. Don't do that.
Yeah, here you go. Stephen Milligan, the British politician and conservative MP.
There, that's the one.
Yeah.
Conservative, no doubt.
Evan Gilbert, musician and songwriter. I don't
Yeah,
know.
self-bondage and conservative sound pretty British, no?
Well, I like how the British are the OGs, man. They were the first documented one in 1692.
Okay, that's the best one. You get
Sailed
the
the ocean blue
punchline.
and also died while jerking off and strangling himself.
Okay, okay. So the thing is, count how many times you do it, and don't asphyxiate yourself, and use some
It
cream,
seems
something.
everybody would seem to be plus a 40 where they're having the problems. So, like, if you could just
Okay,
like, if
just
Yeah,
fans of the
man.
slow
show could
down.
keep it to less than 20 times a day,
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
I
slow
think we'll
down
be
with
good.
Also,
age. Okay.
you should have like a trip sitter kind of situation for the
That's
Yeah,
for
true.
exactly,
electric.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Please,
You might need
please,
to get an AED if you're gonna go get
uh,
try 30
please,
times a day or whatever.
please call for some help to monitor your amount of time you do it, and I don't know, get some help, something. I think it's more than 3 times a day. You get a problem, and if you do it all day long, you may have a problem. I don't know, whatever, but it's okay.
Man,
As long you don't, you keep it
people,
down
why are
and
you
don't
judging people?
asphyxiate
Let people
yourself.
do themselves. But I mean, like,
No, no, I'm
yeah.
all in for that, man. I mean, it's okay. Just close the curtain. Just start by that. Okay, close the curtain, lock the
Unless you're
door.
hot chick, then open the curtain.
I don't know. Well, at least there's some guidance about like the, don't make people feel weird about it, like. And when you
Oh
asphyxiate
wow,
yourself like that, I mean, it's really weird to find someone like that. And just think at who gonna find you, okay?
the guy who did the original Cheech and Chong comics and the character Cheech Wizard died that way. The original comic book artist.
Oh, that's a sad one.
Famous Japanese musician and songwriter Hideo Matsumo, Kevin
But
Gilbert, Michael Loudon. Hmm, interesting.
yeah.
Hold
W-
on. Here we go. Found some filth here. Oh my lord.
Dude, I
Man.
wasn't expecting that we go on all those word tangents
Again,
tonight, and it's really funny.
Well, we've made it there. We've made it here.
suddenly we've
I'm
committed a
always the
bad thing.
worst to,
Man
yeah.
killed after a ping pong ball sex toy executes him during masturbation.
Electrocuted.
Electrocuted. Come on,
What the hell?
How does that
Ping
even
pong and
work?
electrocution.
Ping
I
pong
don't get
ball
it.
electrocuted. Wait, was this in Thailand?
man.
And is
I
that
It
feel
says
like it
all
had
normal?
the
to be,
right. It says all
but
the right keywords. Ping
a
pong,
bloke has died after
electrocution.
electrocuting himself with a ping ball sex toy. He put up his bum in a bizarre bid to gain some form of sexual gratification. The the mad medical moment was detailed by a doctor from the University Hospital. I don't know what the fuck that is. Somewhere in the
No,
Czech Republic.
is
According to
there a part in
experts,
Forrest Gump
the
that have been
male was
censored?
the male
Because
was aged just 30, and he was tragically killed by the incident. It is claimed. Oh man. It is claimed
let's
that
spoil it
he was
speech
trying to
all censorship.
satisfy multiple Tight fetishes? I don't even know what that is, bro.
A multiple atypical fetishes. It's like it means that you get many strange fetish. Okay, it's not typical of the average people. It's just what it means. Okay,
It could
Nice,
be
nice.
Japanese. They're pretty big on the ping pong too.
I don't know. I I think I've just watched the general public version of Forrest Gump. I've not seen that unedited version. I think it must be in that. After Vietnam, discover the ping pong.
Oh, signs of burns on his penis. Ah,
Ouch.
his death was ruled an accidental fatal
No,
electrocution after the massage machine failed and left him with signs of burns on his penis. Experts stated the man had sexual behavior patterns involving unusual societal and unpredictable practices. Well, there you go. Evil. How do you know this shit, Evil?
Uh, Atypical
I'm
fetishes?
watching you, buddy.
Okay, atypical fetishes. Maybe
it's on some
why they
lists. It's
know
on
me,
some
right?
lists.
Damn, bro.
Okay, I don't know. I, I don't know for that one, dude. But yeah. Okay, I've been naked
I
in
don't know
front
what
of
kind
my
of left
plants few
turn this
times.
episode just took after that guy left, but we ended up here on ping pong ball executions.
So, sorry.
Oh.
Well, there's a warning before the show we should add, Wes. We should really make a warning that have a good, like a good minute long, have a warning that, okay, please don't take everything seriously. There is some stuff that may be fictional. Our opinion may not express really what's the reality.
What are you talking about? This show 100% endorses everything we say.
We're a pro ping pong player, okay? We love ping pong. We're we're all about ping pong. Yeah. Well,
I think you know what? I think the lesson here is to inspect your ping pong ball to make it sure it's intrinsically safe, okay? Because that's the real problem here.
No uninsulated ping
Yeah,
pong balls.
exactly. Like if you hadn't
yeah,
been pulling that thing out so goddamn fast, that wire would never came fucking loose. Like
Better
you know,
make sure you got the muscle power to just fire those ping pong balls right out.
yeah, yeah. You may not know about the ping that make the ping in the ping pong. Yeah, poor
I gotta
guys,
like
man.
Houston Road or Pattaya to learn those.
Well, I've never heard about that kind of a funny thing, but there's one thing I was worrying is that, those toys that get a battery, if she go in the bathtub with it and break it accidentally, do it mean that she gonna burn, oh man, like a battery
Not
leak
from
or
a battery.
something?
Are you talking double A's? Or like what are you talking about?
I don't know what kind of battery go in it. Should I buy one to tell you about it?
I
I
mean, a
don't know
nine
what's the
volt you
battery
might
that
be
go in it.
in up there, but most of them don't run a 9 volt. Even that's not like a damage.
But if the battery leak,
Battery. Now, if you have a lithium ion battery and it's short, they can catch fire, and that could be a
yeah, right.
disaster.
The lithium catch fire, so I would advise that they get careful if they go in the bath or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know
man, you
about those
guys are like
stories.
no
Worry me a
fun.
bit.
They should
Yeah,
have a warning about listening to the podcast in the bath.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I I mean,
But
back in
like
my
at
days,
that safe at that point, wouldn't you be worried about like just the vaginal discharge? Wouldn't that be enough liquid to set off the fucking lithium battery anyways? I would hope anyways.
I don't know, man. It must be really painful.
I
Seriously, I'm
Somebody
thinking like, how
well,
painful
those
it must be.
lithium ion batteries burn at 9,000 degrees. They literally they
Ouch.
disintegrate cement, like they like cut through cement.
Ouch. It's not cement down there, dude. Holy crap.
Exactly.
Okay.
It'll be out and over really quick.
Holy crap, man. Okay, we may read it in a few months about it, like we've just not discovered it to have happened yet.
Well, the
Oh,
weird
hold on.
on
I'm
that.
Googling this shit right now.
Oh,
It's coming up.
Well, okay, I want to be your internet provider and looking at the search history.
the
I just
FBI guy
just for the game.
Sex toy battery.
watching Wes is getting an education tonight.
Sex toy, sex toy. Oh man,
Explodes.
there's a really funny song about sex toy. Oh man, it's
Oh, there's a Reddit. There's a Reddit right at the top. Does anyone worry about lithium ion batteries in the body? Uh 25-year-old woman says her sex toy battery, her new battery exploded and scorched her in her jumper.
Oh, I've just read what Pig was saying. He made a batch of milk lab and it basically alternated into cheese to he made something wrong. Maybe Patent, you would want to answer that.
Repeat that.
You think he made cheese with his milk lab?
He was making labs and he said he got mostly cheese. He doesn't seem to get the separation of the whey and the cheese like he should.
What is he
I would
using for the lacto input? Because a lot of times, like it'll like if you're just using like a yogurt or something like that, sometimes it won't separate as much. If you do like an air collection and you combine that with it, the extra yeasts in there will help give you more of that separation.
Okay.
Also, also too, like use the you could always try using like 2% instead of a whole milk.
Because like I did it with kefir before, and one thing I just did is pouring it over a coffee filter overnight over a screen with a coffee filter there, pouring some there, and what was going through it was enough to filter it, and I was pouring another cup, like so I was just eating it in my dessert, whatever, putting some honey in it
with
on the.
labs, I would say I've gotten less than good separation a few times when the temperature where they are has gotten warmer than 30 degrees Celsius. And the other thing I think that has caused my labs to not separate well. Um, hmm, I lost my train of thought there.
Much protein in milk, right? It would like Steve said,
Oh
if you got two
no.
percent, you'll be
Too much
good.
exposure to
It's the
light. Too much exposure to light would be the
Ah,
other one.
okay. Cover it from the
Yeah,
light.
I've
The
just
the
taken a couple of. I've done it right on the kitchen counter, but it's not a particularly bright place.
I've had some that just separate perfectly, and some that just like don't like though.
Mhm.
I've had a couple that don't. I actually, you know what? I can go get one right now that hasn't separated quite properly. Actually, I actually have one in my grow right now. I'll go grab that.
But what's that kind of unprocessed cheese on top? If I just take it and let it over a screen and whatever to capped what's the liquid from it and then press it with herb or whatever, it's good like that, or you suggest to make something better?
No, you can just strain it. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Like if it's a little bit blended, it's all right.
Yeah, I've
Just
left it in the fridge after if I don't eat all, but yeah, I was
yeah,
like,
it's good for a
oh,
few
that
days
tastes like
in the
real
fridge.
fresh milk.
Yeah, it's good for like a week or two in the fridge. And you should
Yeah.
restart it.
Yeah, like this one here, it does have a thing of cheese up on the top, but there's a bunch down at the bottom as well. Like, and usually it's all at the top and it's just clear basically at the bottom for me.
I had the same thing then you having like that, a two
But
layer
yeah,
the liquid
and
in between.
I don't know why this one's that way. Otherwise, it looks fine. But I don't know.
But I was thinking if you just take what's in the middle, take it over, let it a few days separate
Yeah, no,
again.
you the liquids, the way is what you're after, and that that's I think it's fine no matter what, as long as it's separating, making the cheese and
Yeah.
not moldy or something along those lines. Yeah, but yeah,
So
I prefer when it blocks up and creates a nice cake at the top, and it's yeah, no worries otherwise. That's the best.
Part of it too is having a good lacto culture. Like I like to combine a couple different sources and then keep like a mother culture and then just kind of reseed off of that, and it works pretty well. You know, you can kind of chain it as long as you're buying at least a little bit of milk, you know, once a week or whatever. Even if you're just getting a little tiny, you know, half or quarter gallon, whatever the fuck they are, the little mini ones. That's all you need just to keep the culture alive, and then just batch it out whenever you need it.
The other thing that this might have been too is this milk was kind of getting close to going, and my wife was like, "Why don't you use that for like your stuff?" And so I don't know if that makes a difference either.
I
So
haven't tried it with the older versus newer milk, but oftentimes I do the same thing. I'm down to like a quarter or half a thing left, and it's getting a little bit old, and
yeah.
it didn't have cereal or whatever that
I've
week.
never yeah I've only had this problem where it doesn't create the cheese the cake up top once or twice. This is like the second time it's ever happened to me, but
one
it
time I
happens.
had it
Yeah, you
happen that
can
it started to reek as hell and like really
Oh
strange.
no, like
you
smell,
can
barely
feed
smell it. You get
you
little
can feed
little
the
cheese
curd.
smell,
Yeah,
but barely
that's
smell.
why I think I've asked Steve when it happened. I was like, is it because something wasn't clean, whatever? And yeah, after that, remade it more. I made sure everything was clean, everything was more fresh, and I've just used a kind of a towel on top to cover with the mason jar. When I screw it on top, I've just used a kind of a tissue, uh, like to wash it, to wipe your hand, whatever. I've just or a scott towel, something like that, just over when I screw the cap. And just that will have prevent any weird things to enter it. Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't stink. If it stinks, something's
No, yeah,
wrong. Throw it away.
yeah.
But,
Hmm.
Pretty much with
but
anything
the
KNF, if
curds,
it stinks, it's kind of a problem.
yeah. I mean, FFA in the beginning, FAA in the beginning stinks a bit, but once it's set, it doesn't smell anymore. You can take the curd though and press it with cheesecloth and then add salt and heat it up and make actual cheese out of
Yep. Yeah.
it. Like,
I've
Press
even
it
yeah
with
I've even heard
herb.
of people adding you can get the cheddar flavor and add it to it. You can actually like make it a like real good tasting cheese too.
Maybe if I can,
But
I'll try to see if we can make good cheese curd like we got
I just
here
feed it.
out of
My
it.
dog loves it. I just feed it to my dogs.
I bet he love it, man. I was eating it myself, and I'm not sure I would give it to my dog unless I have too much.
Oh no, man, she's huge. So, but yeah, no, she loves it. She goes crazy for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
dogs love it, fish love it, all your animals really like it.
Or you give cheese
Yeah,
to your fish. Damn,
Oh yeah, no,
man.
the best way, dude, the curds from that are like super good for fixing stinky dog farts. Like you add some like goat cheese to the labs, and it adds like a different lactose species from the goat cheese, and it like totally neutralizes dog fart, which is like a
No more
sign of
sauerkraut for
regulation.
me because with that it will just neutralize the smell, so it's not fair, man. How I will social distancing myself? Will I be? I will have to resort on garlic
No,
butter,
if you wanna force social distancing, it's eat a lot of kimchi.
kimchi. Yeah, yeah. When you bury it in your backyard, you will never know about it. Okay, I get it. Kimchi. That's why the Asian guy have been able to hide so long their plantation. They had so much kimchi fermenting, nobody was suspecting they were growing weed. Maybe
Yeah,
that.
Just probably smuggle your weed inside the kimchi. You never know. I'm
It's
still fucking cracking up. That reminds me of this time me and Dutch
uh,
Blooms were at JFK, and we had just come from some weed, or we had the regen conference, and we were headed to the other regen conference, and we had like a bunch of jars of stuff on us. We were just like comparing it, and suddenly dawned on us that we just like totally bombed out the whole fucking whole fucking bar with stinky out like super dank weed. That was like not okay in that particular airport or state at the time before New York legalized. And man, that was like nerve wracking. That was really funny. Left like $100 bill on the counter and peaced out.
yeah, that's one thing that with the rosin, the pen, and stuff like that, people can smoke in many places that it doesn't reek as much. It make it unfair for the herb smoker, and you roll a joint of it. I mean, the other day I was walking in the parking. I go out in the parking lot of that mall, and there's a guy smoking a joint. It was like, I think I could recognize that one. He said, whatever, I'm not sure, but it smelled like something I know about. And then I was walking for maybe a couple miles, and on my walk, I had 3 times people in the parking lot with that same freaking smell. I think there's a new drop in the in the shop over here. It must be that strain just dropping. It was really smelling exactly the same thing in those 3 spots. I don't know exactly. I'm not sure, but anyway, I think it was one of those local classic that they drop on Snow and people were jumping on it. But it's just so funny because most of the time we don't smell as many people smoking weed, let's see, than before. When I was going in the park 10 years ago, there was many people in this corner smoking weed on a picnic table, whatever. But now we cannot smoke in public. So sometimes you see a back alley or far in the parking lot, stuff like that, that they may smoke, but they cannot smoke in public. They may have a ticket or something like that. But there's so many of those pre-roll freaking tube that laying at the bus stop and stuff like that. I mean, come on, guys, can you pick up your trash? It doesn't take that much space in your back pocket till you see a trash. I mean, there's so many freaking things like that, and all those bags that I mean, they put 2 freaking small gummies in a huge bag. I mean, the bag itself will take so long to get rid of it, but you have 2 small gummies and 5 seconds they are gone. So I'm not. Yeah, I think there's some effort on the trash that they can bring down, but or maybe I don't know. Yeah, I think they can bring it down. At least have a stuff that will decompose better. I don't know. Is Millars bad for environment? It's still
Well, yeah,
metal, but there's
absolutely. It's
plastic
still a
with it.
plastic. It's the same as any other plastic. It's gonna break down to a microplastic and be around forever. But I mean,
So we're gonna grow in Millar bag decompose in 100 year. Uh,
Yeah. Um, I love how it's just to boil your water now to get rid of microplastics. Like really, we're back to boiling water again.
huh. Pig is asking how it worked that people use it to smoke in public when it was illegal and now they don't. Well, the difference is that for a long time there was some tolerance because we knew the law were weird and changing. There was a lot more tolerance, but the law were not according like in accordance to how they were reinforced or and then they decided to legalize it fully for recreation, not only medical, and regulate every small aspect of it to make the old weed smoker really confused about it. And the only thing that you have to be less confused is if you're on your property inside, you're good. You can smoke, but most of the place where you rent, you cannot smoke inside anyway. So I don't know where
Yeah,
you're supposed to
that's
smoke.
why it's a good idea to have your medical license because they can't fuck with you anywhere you go. But they did that here where
No, your landlord here can still throw you out for that.
they legalized it here. They legalized it here, but then they made it like completely illegal to do it at any parks or public walkways or anything like that shit too. So it's all got to be in your fucking house anyways. So yeah, but then like the loophole is they can't stop you if you actually have your if you have your medical card because your medical card they can't stop you medicating doesn't matter where you are so you can smoke in the parks and you can smoke on the walkways and stuff but technically here it's completely illegal to smoke so they'll hassle you no matter what only if you have your medical card will they leave you alone.
Yeah, that's quite funny for that. But they say that oh man, it's so illegal to vape. I have to say that with the nicotine vape, before they passed a law about it, I had people smoking that just beside me and blowing cloud in my face, and it was just like, dude, I don't like that thing. Can you just blow it like the other side? I don't mind that thing, but it was a bit like strange to me that they've passed it from oh yeah it's better it's not as bad whatever and now you cannot smoke anything you cannot vaporize anything everywhere anyway it is what it is some people don't like it we have to respect that but there's a word part where they how they apply it.
Yeah.
But there's a good news for this week. Daniel Larson have been I've
No,
opened the
I
first shop of psychedelic and diligent stuff. He have some LSD and peyotes. I think he have kratom. He have many things there. Mushroom. Uh, Vancouver city have approved his license finally, and now he's open. It's gonna be a blast, man, to know about it in the next year. Uh, I don't know much about that more than that short article that have been put in the news, but that seemed like a good thing to me. There's also that gang of Pot TV that still give cannabis to people in the street and people that are on hard drugs, whatever, to help them reduce their use of it and well, they do a good job. They've been a bit arrested by the city, but seem like the city have allowed Dan Larson for his shop. So there's a good and a yeah, some good in it.
well right on. You guys want to start to wrap her up?
Yeah. We went from good seeds to sex toy.
we've been everywhere tonight, so I think we hit all the buttons. So right on, man. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Evil?
Yeah, that will be Discord will be my favorite way to join me. There's a yeah, join me on Discord if you see me on around on the channel. I'm open to talk with people.
Right on.
And you,
And
Steve.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Ponics and all the things. Also, hit me up if you're looking for more of those Temple Thai genetics stateside. I got another round, so the pure ones as well as some cool crosses.
the
And
don't forget the aquaponics course.
yeah,
That's got that coming up too.
yeah, I have the aquaponics course coming up. Aquaponicmasterclass.com. We'll be teaching a 5-day intensive course in May with one of the University of Oklahoma farms, which is super cool.
That's
So
awesome.
check that out if you're interested in that. And yeah, we'll be doing an online version of that as well. shortly after. I have working on that currently, and yeah, some other classes you're putting together as well.
Awesome. Well, right on. And yeah, man, we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.
Yeah, have a good